мікрофон і звертаю. Так? Добре, дякую, так. Звук. Hello. I'm here. Доброго вечора. Ось прийшов і я. І сьогодні я буду коментувати 5-й тур. So I came today and I will comment round 5. My prediction was totally wrong. So only one result I predict correct. My prediction was that Nepomniachtchi will win against Nakamura, that Rapport will win against Caruana, both with black. Firouzja and Duda will be draw, so it's this only correct prediction, and Rajabov will win against Ding, but all decisive games ended with draw, all of games today ended with draw, so only result which I predicted correctly was draw, Firouzja against Duda. But okay, so I see Caruana Rapport as main game. Is everything okay with voice and with sound, I hope? Please confirm if everything is okay. Yeah, okay. Добре, отже, я продовжую. Everything clear, good, good. So, Caruana against Rapport, so crystal clear, excellent. We remember that Rapport, that Duda against Rapport played bishop f4 in this position. And after d6, he took on c6 and played bishop d3. So this was in game Duda Rapport. Sorry. But here knight c3 played Fabiano, and after a6 he played g4. Very popular line now. Of course, there are many other moves here. For example, knight takes c6, b takes c6, bishop d3 is very popular line. Another popular line is bishop e3. And if knight f6, queen d2, Wenceslas played this line against me. But okay, Caruana decided to play g4. It's also possible. And usually black plays here queen c7 or h6 even. But Richard Rapport decided to play knight g7, also quite standard move for Taimanov variation. Black is ready somewhere to take on d4 and play knight c6. Somewhere also knight g6 is possible plan. So it's quite flexible move. Bishop e3, queen c7. It's important that now b5 played, sorry. Because queen c7 somewhere necessary to check this idea with knight on e7. If queen a5, bishop d2, and then knight d6, knight f7, knight h8 is coming. So if you have a knight on e7, it's better. You must be extremely careful if you want to play queen c7 at some moment. And also important that very often white trying to avoid knight takes d4, knight c6 with knight b3. And black after knight b3 can play knight e5 to exchange knight. So if white will take, queen will take, so better to take from d8, not from c7, without losing the tempo. For example, if compare with this line, bishop e3, knight g7, knight b3, knight a5. or like this g3, knight e7, knight b3, knight a5. Another theoretical line. According to theory, the strongest move here for white is queen h5. Knight takes b3, a takes b3 is acceptable for white. If knight c6, bishop g5 is the point, and white is ready for long castle. Okay, but Caruana played differently. So g4, knight g7, bishop e3, b5. So knight g7 was preparation of b5, because if play immediately b5, it's hardly good choice for black, because after takes, bishop e3 or bishop f4 and long castle, this endgame doesn't look good for black. It's worse for black. Sometimes it's playable, but it is playable if black can play e5 and then king c7. But here this plan is not possible, because there are no enough development and there are no control on e5 square, so white is clearly better. So b5 is just a bad move in this position. Thanks for subscription. It's pleasant for me to see new spectators. So knight g7, knight b3. It's not only move. White can play, of course, bishop e3 with idea if knight takes d4, queen takes d4, b5, maybe just castle, play this kind of position. If knight c6, even queen b6 is possible to block b pawn, and this endgame, I think, should be better for white. So b5, but now we can see if white plays, for example, queen d2, if compare, white lost tempi. For queen d2, queen takes d4, and obviously it gives to black more attractive possibilities. Of course, it's possible to play something like h4, but after h4, black also can play bishop b7 and try to find the best moment for knight takes d4, knight c6. Although now it's necessary to consider knight b3 with idea if knight a5, knight c5 may be possible, but I don't know how strong it is. Bishop c6, for example, and black is ready for d6. So it's complicated game. h4 is totally possible. After bishop b7, of course, white can play even just a3 to prevent b4 if this knight c6, even queen b6 is possible, or queen d2 is possible as well. It's quite complicated game. For example, knight e5, bishop e2, rook c8, something like this. Castle. Now b4 even it's possible to consider, and then b5 is coming, something like this. Okay, so Fabiano played knight b3. It's not only move in this position, but quite logical and very standard reaction from Richard Rapport, knight a5. It's good that he played knight a5 here. I mean, good for black that pawn on g4. White has no queen h5 resource. So black is ready for knight c6, okay, queen d2. Played Fabi, bishop b7, natural move. Another possible. Just a moment, sorry. Phone call. Please wait a few minutes. I need to answer. Sorry for interruption. I am here again. Okay, thanks for subscription. Okay, sound is okay, nice. Okay, I'm here. So far. Is this some Lyuboyevich advice to report? Okay, totally possible that Lyuboyevich advised him to prepare Taimanov system. Maybe, but I'm not sure about this. Anyway, Lyuboyevich is very experienced player, so he can be useful for psychological preparation and he can be useful to choose correct strategy against each concrete opponent. Well, but if it was Lyuboyevich's recommendation to play Taimanov system, it's possible, but I cannot assert it. So after Queen d2, Rapport took on b3. Bishop b7 may be possible as well, but probably he wanted to avoid knight c5. So I don't know if it's really strong because bishop c6 and black is ready for d6 or for b4, but maybe castle is possible. If b4, knight b1 and black has pawn. Black has problem with pawn. Okay, g4 is very popular line here. It's aggressive line, and main theory after g4, according to my memory, it's something like this. This b5, knight takes c6, queen takes c6, queen d2, b4, knight e2, queen takes e4, rook g5, and white has very good compensation here. I never played g4. I played. Surely I played here knight takes c6 and bishop d3, but mainly I played this with black. With white, maybe I played as well, but I'm not so sure. With black, I played many times. And with white, usually I played bishop e3 here, and after knight f6, I played bishop d3 against Benjamin. And important, if queen c7, I played castle, this line, knight e5, h3. If d5, I improved game Spassky-Fischer. So in the game Spassky-Fischer from Reykjavik, it was last game in this World Championship. Spassky took e takes d5, e takes d5, castle, and after bishop d6, black has quite a good version of isolated pawn because bishop on d3 now it's not so good as bishop on e2. But against Benjamin, I played correctly. I played castle. It's stronger than e takes d5. My idea is bishop d6. I can take on c6 and play f4. And this position is more promising for white. For example, if bishop e7, I can play e5, knight d7, knight a4. If c5, c4, d5. Then knight b2, slowly I will bring my knight to d3 after bishop e4 exchange. No. Okay, I made many commentarios on Levitov chess, for example, my report about opening variation, but I wasn't invited to comment candidates tournament from Levitov chess. So g4 I didn't play. I played bishop e3. After knight f6 I played both bishop d3 or queen d2. After queen c7 also white has the same choice. Also f4 is possible. Ruslan Ponomaryov played f4 against me, and after b5 he took on c6, and after queen takes c6 he played bishop e2. It's another very interesting line. I played bishop b7, bishop f3. It was my game against Ponomaryov. Idea of this system that if b4 white has bishop f3. After b takes c3, e5, and after c takes b4, it's important not take the queen, of course, because if take the queen, black has too much pieces. But much better for white just to play after c takes b2, just rook b1, and then white will take exchange. If bishop c3, if queen c3, bishop d2 is coming, so next move white will take on a8, and according to theory, white is better in this position. Even Boris Spassky played this line with white. Okay, so g4, it's possible, but I have never played g4 with white. With black also, nobody played g4 against me. Knight b3, a takes b3. So bishop b7 was possible, but Richard decided to take immediately. It's his choice. Bishop b7, now b4, maybe threat. Okay, it's not clear, for example, rook g1 is possible. Now b4 it's dangerous somehow, because knight a4, if bishop, now knight c5 is possible, or knight b6 is possible, and then take on a6. But okay, after rook g1, black has other moves. I don't know what is the best, but I think not queen c7, because queen c7 there is standard idea. Bishop takes b5, if a takes b5, rook takes and knight takes b5. If queen goes somewhere, knight d6, knight f7, if queen takes h2, it's just a mate. So after rook g1, I suppose Richard planned to play maybe knight g6. Looks like logical idea to prepare before in better versions than immediately. But okay, it's quite complicated position. White can play even f4, for example. With same idea of b4, knight a4, bishop takes e4, knight b6, something like this. But okay, with such a play, white needs to be ready for pawn sacrifice in some variation. So Caruana, I see during this tournament, tries to avoid too much risk. So bishop g2, solid move, but usually if white is playing long castle and trying for attack, they are not playing bishop g2. So bishop g2 is positional move, a little bit not in spirit of this variation. Even f3 was more aggressive if he doesn't want to give pawn, but I think the principle was not defend. So rook g1, it means like the move which position demand more from white. It's aggressive play. Bishop g2 is not aggressive play. It's Fabi wants to consolidate his position somehow, but he doesn't want to attack anymore. It means that okay, he tries to play solid. It's understandable, but if you play solid, it's very difficult to reach +3 or +4 in candidates tournament, but without this. Yes, many interesting games, yes, and almost without quick draws, so real fighting chess and many mistakes. It's also respectful because it means that resistance of all of participants is quite strong, so not so easy to play clear game if your opponent demonstrate a good level of resistance. So bishop g2, okay, for me it's dubious move, in my opinion, but I'm not sure if I'm right. So knight g6 played rapport. Now he has obvious threat. Rapport performance, 5 draws, yes, good results, and also he made very hard draw against Duda after terrible opening. So I think he must be in good mood, and he still have a good chances in this tournament, even to win this tournament. I like his level in this tournament, and I like style what is he is demonstrating till now. So knight g6, the knight h4 is threat, so white need to react somehow. Rook f1. It's not so standard, but white prepared bishop h1 after knight h4. But now knight h4 no sense. So bishop c6, quite original idea. It's not necessary. Bishop e7 was bishop b4 is hardly good idea because after queen d4, bishop is attacked and pawn g7 is attacked and take on c3 and give white to bishop's advantage. No, d6. So bishop b4 now prepare a castle. So this area as a possible. Okay, even castle is possible. Complicated. But f5 hardly good because knight e5. e5 black can take and probably play. Maybe even check is possible. Maybe d5 is possible. But okay, it's complicated position. After e takes d6, for example, if take with queen, knight takes b5, necessary to consider. If takes with bishop, castle is possible with idea knight e4. Or if queen c7, now f5, white has attacking chances. So, okay, anyway, bishop e7 was standard move, but Richard played bishop c6. I think the point that he defended d7 pawn in Nemtsovich style, extra defend after possible long castle, and also he doesn't want to close the diagonal d8 h4 kosyak. It's kosyak in drafts. d8 h4 is kosyak in checkers. So he doesn't want to close kosyak for his queen, because now if f4 he can play queen h4 check and then take g4 pawn. f4 is obvious mistake. So this is idea to wait with bishop e7 in my opinion. Hello. So what is the flag? Green. What is it? Italia or Bulgaria? Remember that Bulgaria has such colors, but Italy as well. Or maybe also Hungary, but I don't remember correct combination of this colors. So Penelope Chess, what country are you from? Italy. Okay, Italy. Okay, nice to meet you, especially if you are beautiful woman. Good. So f4 is bad. So after bishop c6, white need to play something else. Okay, long castle is possible, but after long castle, black... okay, it's sharp move. Maybe black has plan a5 and a4, but if a5, I can consider this possibility. Bishop b6 is threat. If e takes d6, this is dangerous somehow, because... okay, I'm not sure this is what, because it's possible. If d6, bishop g2 is hanged, so maybe it's just a rubbish. Okay, after bishop b7, maybe white can play something else. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work at all. It's totally possible, but I'm not, because of the terrible position of bishop on g2. But I want to think what white can do. If rook e1, bishop e7, maybe. If f4, black can just play d6 to prepare knight e5 after f5. So probably a5 is possible. Probably knight d5 doesn't work immediately. So, and black is ready to push a4 and start contraplay against white king. So probably this was idea of Richard Rapport. Looks like a little bit risky, but I cannot see how it's possible to refute it. e5 now. No, e5, no, e5 is not possible because bishop is hanging. So e5 not. Okay. So, but anyway, e5 for black, no, knight d5, no. e5, it's not good idea to consider, because black pawn must be on e6 and not allow knight d5. So g5 played Fabi. Now he is ready for f4, but it's a little bit slow, because after f4, f5 is not a big threat, because knight will go to e5, and Richard started his contraplay a5 immediately. Of course, was possible simply play bishop e7 and castle, but he decided to play in more concrete way. Especially, it will be good if white will make long castle at some moment. f4, a4. So at the moment, white king in the center, which this gives good chances for contraplay to black. For example, if takes on a4, takes. If e5, black can just take and play bishop b4. Sorry, bishop b4 with excellent positions. So positional plan is to take and then knight e7, knight f5. So Fabi played rook d1 and bishop b4 played Richard. Not necessary, many possibilities is possible. For example, it's possible just take on b3 and play bishop e7, simply play this position. Nothing special, of course, but black wants castle somehow. Okay, but maybe now knight d5 is interesting. White wants to take on e7. If e takes d5, e takes d5, bishop b7, d6. Now bishop is protected. So this idea is possible, but big question how strong it is, because black can just take and play castle. And maybe black is totally okay. After d takes e7, queen takes e7, white has some problem with his king in center. Okay, if not play knight d5, white need to do some f5, knight e5, it's double edge. So white has active possibilities, but black has e5 square. Also knight e2 is possible with idea knight d4, but I don't know how strong it is. But it's quite standard and logical idea. Okay, but Richard started very concrete play. He played bishop b4. Now bishop not defended, and pawn g7 is not defended as well. So white has targets for attack. Queen d4 played Fabi. Bishop d4 is also possible, but probably after castle. If bishop takes g7, king takes g7, queen d4 check, e5 is strong. The queen takes b4, knight takes f4, and this position looks like much better for black. If f5, it's possible, but even e takes f5 can be considered. This rook e8 check, king f2, maybe knight e5 even is possible. Again, double edge position after king g1, for example. It's difficult to estimate this position. I don't know who is better here. Maybe more or less equal position, even maybe somebody is better, but it's creative position. But Fabio, his attack. Aha, okay, but if somebody wants to subscribe, I want to say thank you for everybody who wants to hear me. So queen d4 played Fabi, queen a5, Richard. He just defended his bishop, and now white has choice. Of course, it's possible to play something like king f2, and after castle to play knight e2 to prepare c3. If takes here, it's losing because rook a1. Okay, if black take immediately, also rook a1 is very strong. Yes. But now I'm not. But now black has bishop takes c3. Situation is less clear than in previous variation. But okay, anyway, probably it's promising for white. B takes c3, queen takes a1. Only move rook takes a1, rook takes a1, and now c takes b3. What is this? If knight h4, bishop h3, it's possible. So pawn g7 is hanging. So maybe castle is correct. Maybe king g3 here to prepare h4. Or to prepare f5 in some variation. It's complicated line. Also, after a takes b3, white can just take this idea to prepare rook a1 in better version. So king f2 was totally possible. White has quite comfortable position because black pieces are not there. Okay. But imagine playing in line, for example, Grishchuk Giri. So in this very famous position, after e4, e5, bishop b5, knight f6, we have seen king f1 played by Grishchuk against Giri. King f1 was position, but it was possible move, but it's totally different plan. This position also g4 was played very early, but it was this move order. So e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, this neither variation. I play bishop e3. Navarra played knight g4. I played bishop c1. No idea what Navarra afraid after knight f6. Move repetition, but he principally played knight c6. Okay, he's very creative and very principled player. So he played knight c6. Also, of course, my idea wasn't to play bishop e3 and repeat moves. What I would play after knight f6, I don't know, but I was sure that Navarra will play knight c6, and he didn't disappoint me. So he played knight c6, bishop e2, knight f6, bishop e3, e6, g4, and after d5, e takes d5, knight takes d5 with this. In this position, in one game I played rook g1, and other game I played castle, and later I had this position with black against Markus Rager, and he played bishop f3, queen a5, queen d2, something like this. This knight e5, bishop e2. It was game Rager-Ivanchuk. I'm fine, thank you. And this position, Ivanchuk Navarra, I recommend to see from our match in Prague. My day was excellent, thank you. So, okay, castle is possible, but I think that rook f1 king f1, mate in 1. Okay, it's not mate in 1, but anyway, strange choice of Grishchuk was. But it was draw, because Giri took on e4 after king f1, so I can answer Giri. So according to Giri, he seriously analyzed Magnus' attempt king e2 and asked engine what is the best way to play with black according to Stockfish. Okay, it's very useful, of course, but in my opinion, I didn't check this very important for theory position with Stockfish, but in my opinion, looks much better for black than before, which played Giri. So knight takes e4. Yes. Okay, about Mag, nobody plays really well so far in candidates. I cannot agree because Nepomniachtchi played very well and Nakamura played very well. Okay, at least these two players played quite a good level, and Nepomniachtchi also is leading, so I cannot agree with Magnus. And also, I like how Rapport plays. So, no. Nakamura and Nepomniachtchi I didn't touch yet. But I didn't consider yet. So please not hurry. Of course, as usual, I will cover all of games which was played in this round, but please not hurry me. At the moment I am doing Caruana Rapport. So knight takes e4 is not the best in my opinion. Bishop c5 was strong, but I don't know what will say stockfish about this, and frankly speaking, I'm not interested too much. Well, so queen takes g7, a3. Duda will draw all the match. Okay, it's you mean that he is inspired with example of Giri during candidates tournament in Moscow. He made Anish Giri. He made all 14th draw, also many games. Many of his games was really interesting, but 14 draws. No, probably. Okay, it's not so easy. Even if have such a goal, it's not so. Same like if I want to predict results for next round, once I did not predict correctly any results in Vacancy. From 7 games, I didn't predict any results correctly, but it's really difficult. In this queen, yes, thank you. Okay, so queen takes g7. Alireza performance. Okay, so he's -1 at the moment. Yesterday he lost, but okay, not problem that he lost, but very strange what happened in preparation, because he came with novelty, or at least very rare move bishop c4, and only after several and quite natural moves he was already in big trouble. So I don't know how to explain it. Only he himself or his second, Ivan Cheparinov, can explain what happened in this game. But in general, he demonstrated quite a good level. But okay, one bad game is important. So at the moment, -1, he's hard to imagine that he can be happy with his tournament situation. Okay, Rapport play a3 and Fabi has choice. There are several moves which is possible. Even rook a1 is possible to consider. At least I don't see direct refutation of rook a1. For example, if take, I will take. If another queen, white can play king d2, and this looks like bad for black simply. So after rook a1, probably Richard planned to play. Yes, in chat somebody told me that Cheparinov is second of Alireza. What I know about second, that Vityugov is second of Nepomнящий. With Namik, it's possible, yes. With Namik, with Bakro, but main second. Okay, probably not only Cheparinov. Magnus will play, of course he will play, but he wants to have more money than in previous match. Totally understand his strategy and respect this. It's good. Ruslan is no Ruslan, not Ruslan, Rustam. You mean Kasimjanov? After Fabi was working with Alireza, but I don't know if till now. So okay, what was idea of Richard after rook a1? It's maybe e5 he wanted to play. Because if f5, black has idea bishop f8 and bishop e7 to make draw somehow. Also, if it works, I am not sure if it works. After f5, bishop f8, queen f6. After bishop e7, white can take on a3, and this looks like very promising for white. Bad coach who is the problem, okay. After a takes b2, rook takes a1, b1 queen, king d2, queen b2. This is problem. Okay, I am not agree. This. So why this is problem for white? They are pawn up, and I will play queen d4. I don't agree that this is problem for white. Okay, bishop a5 only move. I don't see other ideas, but okay, the pin is quite unpleasant, but white can play king d3 even, so I don't have feeling that something bad here for white. Okay, maybe it's a complicated position, but e5, e5, f5, and now a takes. Maybe now it's the best move order. But okay, so this we can check. King, king. Even king f2 may be possible. Okay, king d2 is more natural. Now it's more serious because I cannot defend my knight. But anyway, it's not clear. I will take. You will if you take with bishop, king d3 is coming, so most likely you will take with queen. But why it is bad for white, I'm not sure. It looks like good for white. Okay, it's a question if this is forcing, but rook a1, it's interesting move candidate in this position. So it would be interesting to see what Richard would play here. Maybe even long castle is possible to consider with idea to have after f5 knight h4. It's totally crazy position, but after long castle probably white can play queen d4, for example. Here, but position looks like totally crazy. So rook a1 was interesting alternative. I don't know, maybe there is some refutation. Position is very complicated. It can be some tactics with not so obvious for my brief analysis, but okay, anyway, it was interesting idea, in my opinion. So king f2 played Fabi, and Richard played a takes b2. Jubava chances. Okay, if Imet Jubava instead whom? Instead of whom? Whom you want to Jubava replace? Okay, okay, he can. Okay, Peter Leko. Peter Leko was his second in Yekaterinburg, but I don't know if he helps to Nepo now. Or maybe it's possible, but I don't hear this. Okay, zero chances. Zero chances for what? Okay, hard to believe that. Okay, Svidler is a big friend of Vitugov, so everything is possible. So king f2 played. Okay, I have no. What about Anand? Anand. What about Anand? And Anand is second of somebody? I don't think so. But who knows? Maybe everything is possible. But I don't think that Anand is second of somebody in this tournament. Maybe I'm not right. So King F2, maybe Rook A1 was more interesting, but yes, I'm giving classes sometimes. Anand is not second. So Richard took on b2, knight is hanging, so knight e2 is natural. Maybe rook d3 was possible as well, I don't know. Position is totally crazy. But knight e2 played Fabi, and e5 played Richard, and now Fabi decided to force draw. He played f5, and game finished with move repetition. So after f5, everything is clear. Bishop f8 and queen f6, bishop e7. So queen sacrifice is obviously incorrect because black has a strong pawn on b2. So it looks like after f5 is draw. If second of Anand, in which tournament? Kramnik. Okay, Kramnik wasn't second, but okay, they had occasional contact during the match, according to Anand. What about knight d5? In which moment knight d5? Here knight d5. Instead of knight e2. Interesting. I'm thinking. Black has choice. Yes. If e takes d5, e takes d5, bishop c3, white has bishop d4. Okay, but maybe just takes bishop b7, f5, and now probably what black can play. Long castle. Okay, for example, long castle, fg, ag. Pawn h2 is hanging, and black is ready for bishop c3. What is this? Crazy position. King g1 maybe. Queen c7 and so on. Black has contraplay at least. Okay, so f5 is the best. White has no special choice. Long castle looks logical. Takes. Very unclear position. Probably Fabi wasn't totally happy with such a position. Okay, so good evening. So he played knight e2, and after e5 he decided to play f5 and finished the game. If white has any other possibilities here, okay, maybe it was possible to play in this position. For example, rook b1 is possible in this position, if to be in fighting mood. Because now bishop f8 and bishop e7 is not draw. White has queen f5. But it's difficult to say who is better here. For example, e takes f4 is possible. If knight takes f4, black has idea queen c3. Any result is possible in this position. But okay, Fabi decided to play f5 and agreed to draw. Okay, so the time to cover another game. So it was quite short game. This also was quite short, only 24 moves. Another quite short game was Nakamura against Nepomniachtchi. So my prediction. Okay, maybe too much respect, maybe just afraid to lose because it's not so easy to win back after the loss. Okay, so it was choice of Fabi, and also I respect choice of Bear Bully. I mean his subscription to my channel. Well, so I have ideas that yesterday I predicted that Nepo will win with black. So somebody told my prediction to Nakamura, and he decided to play as solid as possible. Is it true? Who knows? Thank you, thank you. Always pleasant to see new subscription to my channel. e4, e5, sorry, e5, knight f3, knight f6, no knight c6, knight, so against rapport Nakamura played knight c6 and knight f6, but now Nepomniachtchi is black, so Nepo not so aggressive because Nakamura subscribed, okay, I accept Nakamura like spectator of my annotation. If he has some propositions, I can consider this them seriously. Probably I can give also some advices to him how to play in next game or in next games if he needs it. Okay, nobody asked me to help in this candidates tournament, only Caruana. But it was very important that it was in my dream. So while I was sleeping, Caruana came to my home, to my house in Lviv, and without any invitation, he came. Okay, please go, and he asked me if I am ready to help him during the candidate tournament. But it was just a dream, okay. Yes, it was just a dream, okay. After I waited several days if he will realize my dream in real life, but he didn't, okay, so I am free and I am not helping to anybody in this tournament. I didn't receive any other proposition even in dream. Okay, to play Budapest Gambit in dream, I didn't advise him, but okay, so sometimes dreams are just dreams, but sometimes not. For example, I had advertisement in not to play Meran variation against Kramnik during my dream, but I played this and lost in 19 moves. So dream can have very serious information. It was in Dortmund, anti-Meran with Queen C2 B6. I can show probably this fantastic game. So it was D4 D5, C4 C6, this. This I have chess dreams many times. So my game is with Kramnik was something like this: bishop b2. Oh, what I played: bishop e7 or bishop d6 or rook c8 even. Maybe rook c8 I played. Because somewhere I played c5, bishop d3, something like this. No. Before it was bishop e7 castle, somehow bishop d3, something like this. c5, yes. Now this, bishop b4 I played, bishop c4, this, b5 immediately not possible, and because queen takes g7, I played queen g5 check, and here I was sure that rook g1 only move, and after queen h6 I am winning the piece, although white has serious compensation, but Kramnik find queen a5, and I resigned immediately. Okay, so of course I resigned because I was too disappointed that I didn't accept advertisement in my dream not to play Meran variation. Oh, of course, my position is very bad, even probably losing, but was possible to play Queen f6 after Bishop e2, something like this. Rook c2, Queen takes b5, castle. Okay, it's never too late to resign. Okay, objectively, White should win, but it's better to be fighter till the end. So instead of queen g5 castling was possible, but my idea was to win the piece here. So if castle, queen d4, white has piece up, pawn up. So I wanted to win piece, utilize the pin, but I totally missed idea queen a5. So this was dream which realized it, but for bad way for me. Well, but so e4. Nakamura was familiar with my prediction. He have understood that played aggressively is dangerous, so he decided to play solid. Petrov defense, it's good choice if you want to play solid with white. So bishop f5 or knight c6. So Nakamura knight c6 played, не помнишь, cheese. Against Carlsen, не помнишь, he played bishop d6 line, but okay, of course, he made good preparation for candidates tournaments as well. So now he chose another line. He played knight c6, castle, and bishop e7, and of course, he knows good traps. Board squares. Okay, I don't know how to explain it, but it's automatic process for me, so it's very easy in my head. But how to explain it, I don't know. In Candidates, not yet, I think. In a match against Magnus, he played, but he played bishop d6 line. So now I want to show you several traps, which is well known, but okay, not all spectators are professionals. So I will show you several stories about this position. So c4 played Nakamura, but I will show you knight d2. Knight d2, knight takes d2, bishop takes d2, bishop g4, c3, castle. And now if h3, bishop h5, black is ready for bishop g6. Between bishop d6 and knight, okay, so in this line, black can develop his bishop on d6 and also can develop his bishop on e7 immediately or after knight c6, but this is principal choice. But what I want to show, so c3 castle, and if bishop f4, now the strongest for black is bishop d6. Very comfortable move positionally, because after exchange of bishops, white has no pressure into c7, and after bishop takes d6, black can, without any fear, take with queen. And this position is totally equal. For white is probably the best, rook e1, and this position is equal if queen f6, bishop e2. But the trap is bishop takes h7, looks like strong combination, but bishop takes h7 here, it's a big blunder, because black will take, and after knight g5, king g6, good move, and after queen takes g4, f5, and black is losing piece. If queen goes somewhere, black will just take on g5 with king. If queen h4, rook h8, and black is winning. Queen g3 takes, and then takes the knight. Black is totally winning. So bishop takes h7, yes, combination doesn't work. But you need to understand that sometimes there are important differences in chess. For example, I will put on the board very similar position. Instead of knight bd2, knight c3, takes, bishop g4. Okay, according to modern theory, according to modern theory, interesting idea for white is h3, bishop h5, rook b1, rook b8, c4 now, and if knight takes d4, g4 is coming. This is point of strategy of white. But I will show you another things. So rook e1, castle, bishop f4. Now bishop d6 is also possible, but after bishop takes d6, black has obligation to take on f3. So bishop takes f3 is correct move. And after queen takes f3, queen takes d6, rook e3, and then rook a e1, white is slightly better. But what is problem with queen takes d6 with same idea? Because now bishop takes h7 works. It's difference. So if king takes h7, knight g5 check. If king g6, queen takes g4. If f5, white has queen h4. And after rook h8, rook e6 check. This is point. Rook on e1, not on f1. And after queen takes e6, queen takes h8, and white is winning material. Because rook is hanging, after rook takes h8, knight takes e6, pawn up, and black is losing another pawn. Knight takes c7 or knight f4 is coming. But if imagine that, for example, here white playing rook b1 firstly, rook b8, and only now rook e1 looks like active moves, and rook b8 is passive move. This is difference because here black can take on d6 with queen. This is strong move. And now same combination doesn't work because here black rook is protected by knight. So this is difference, and black is winning after queen e7. So so it's important to know such a traps. It's not difficult, but it shows beauty of chess. For example, also I want to explain that very famous combination of legal mat. So this, h3, bishop h5, knight takes e5. So everybody knows this combination, and if bishop takes d1, bishop takes f7, knight d5 mate of legal. But if image same position with h3, a6, knight takes e5 is simply mistake, because black will take and take on c4, and white has no check from b5, which is extremely important. So now knight takes e5 is terrible blunder because there is no control on b5 square. Who was Mr. Legal? French player who lived 300 years ago, probably even more than 300 years ago. He was he lived in the same time more or less like Francois André d'Aquican Philidor, great French player. Okay, but it was some stories. Let's come back to serious guys. Illegal. No, he was just legal, not illegal. And his opponent was Saint-Brie. I don't know who is Saint-Brie, but from literature I only remember. No, I never played Duchamp. I know that he was big fan of chess and famous artist, but I never played him and I never meet him in life. I never met him in life. Okay, so let's come back to our serious guys. I mean, Nakamura Nepomniachtchi. So knight c6 played Nepomniachtchi. He wants to develop his bishop to e7. It's a very respectable choice. c4 played Nakamura. Yes, I see also, is it Nepomniachtchi, right? Or this is because it was two Petrov. Yes, Nakamura Nepomniachtchi. c4, knight b4. Okay, so c takes d5, it's another possible line, but according to theory, black is fine after this, after bishop f5, if g4, bishop g6, if knight c3, knight takes c3, queen takes c3, now f6 is correct move. It's important to know as well. f6 with idea, if queen takes c7, black has castle. White has no advantage according to theory. Okay, so bishop e2 was played in many games. First example in highest level was game between Karpov and Kasparov. It was in very end of his famous match in 1944. It was game 41, if I am right. I'm not sure if it was 41. Maybe 41. 41. Game 41. Kasparov took on c4 and he was worse. Okay, so castle, modern theory, knight c3. Now black has choice between bishop e6 and bishop f5. Yes, 1984. Bishop e6 now is also possible. And the main response of white is knight e5 after f6, knight f3. David Paravian. Yes, yes. With queen c7, queen sacrifice. Yes, I have seen Paravian Golubov. It's really a nice game. But I don't see Golubov. Is he stopped to play chess? Does he play anymore or not? Paravian still playing a lot, but Golubov, I don't see him during last time on the chessboard. Okay, so bishop f5 played Nepomniachtchi, a3, knight takes c3, knight c6, this is theory. So main line according to theory is c takes d5, queen takes d5, bishop f4, rook c8. Many games was played. Also, I won such a game against Vishy Anand with black. Rook a2 played Nakamura, bishop f8, c takes d5. Sorry, queen b3, queen b3? No, queen b3, knight a5. No, queen b3, it's not a good idea. Is a cheater, okay? There are many cheaters, unfortunately. He is banned only chess, but okay, he can play in normal board where there is no possibility to cheat. Well, rook a2, bishop f8, it's e4, bishop f1, queen g4. Maybe queen b1 was possible as well, but rook b2 and rook takes b7, probably white is better. So queen h4, h3, takes, rook e2, queen d3. I don't know if it's still analyze of somebody. Okay, I can ban somebody if I see that something incorrect was written, but okay. It also depends of my mood, but I don't have personal moderator. So queen d3, rook b2, repeat the move, rook e3, queen b1, d5, knight e7, queen e1. Very strange play, but I will be not very surprised that it's still analyze of somebody. It would be interesting to see how much time they spent till this position. Knight d4 was better. Okay, maybe knight d4 was better. Looks like very natural. Yes, knight d4 looks very good. Because rook b3 is threat and bishop is rook takes e7 is also threat and knight takes f5 probably. Yes, knight. Aha, so it wasn't allowed. So knight d4, yes, looks like white has excellent chances here. So bishop g6, maybe rook b3. If queen a1, knight b5, maybe possible. Looks like very promising for white. Yes, I agree that knight d4 was a good idea. Nepo started to think after rook e2, so it wasn't analyzed. Okay, so we can also think about. Okay, the most natural reaction is knight a5. It's very standard reaction. I don't know. Yes, Karpov-Portish, yes, very famous game, and I don't know what was preparation of Nakamura here. So pawn is hanging, knight e5, maybe knight e5, but okay, we'll take. Is it any problem? Okay, knight e5, what about f6? Sorry. Yes, f6 is possible. Okay, so many questions. So maybe knight a5, maybe already there are some games with knight a5. Knight a5 very, very natural. So now it's c takes d5, c4. It's a little bit unpleasant for black because bishop cannot go to f6 and rook a2 is useful move. So what was problem with knight a5? I don't know. Maybe knight d2 he wanted to play. But after knight d2, simply c6 and white bishop is suffering somehow. In Ukrainian, of course, I'm streaming sometimes in Ukrainian language. That's true. So after knight a5, not so clear to understand what was idea of the pawn. For example, c4 here doesn't work because after knight takes c4 bishop, this rook e2, maybe king f8 is possible as well, but more simple to play bishop e6, and if d5, black has rook d8. white is totally collapsed. So after knight a5, what was idea of Nakamura? I would be curious to know. Maybe just take and rook b2? Maybe. Who knows? What is this? Queen a4? In which moment queen a4? Queen a4. Ah, queen a4. But okay, knight takes c4. This. Black has two bishops. Rook e2 may be idea, but I don't know if it's really strong. It's pawn sacrifice. Also c6 is possible, solid. Okay, but after c6 probably white can take, and if c takes d5, bishop b5 is possible somehow. But knight takes c4 is principal. Also maybe this is idea to utilize spin, sacrifice the pawn, but not so convincing. Even bishop e6 is possible. So it's a big question, but why Nepomniachtchi didn't play knight a5. And, this position requires quite a serious analysis. Queen d5, cd, queen takes d5, rook b2. Okay, maybe, but is it really strong if I play c6, for example? Maybe queen a4 now to prepare c4. Yes, maybe this. Yes, maybe. Rook b2, rook b5 is threat. But maybe b6 is possible if rook b5, c5. So still not clear if white has advantage. But knight e5 also, with idea bishop f3. Probably this was prepared. If rook d8, bishop f3 with unpleasant initiative. Okay, so probably this. Rustemov is here. Hello, Alexander. Yes, so probably c takes d5 and rook b2 was his preparation. So bishop f8, and now Nakamura started his attack, but now he played knight d2. So knight d4 is much more natural, and it looks like white has advantage. b6 is blunder due knight e5. Just a moment. So c takes knight a5, this. But yes, I told knight e5, yes. So I already mentioned knight e5 and bishop f3 is coming. Yes, I already explained this. But anyway, thank you for your participation in our analysis. So let's go. So knight d2 played, probably knight d4 was stronger. Bishop d2, queen d6, and he repeat moves. But okay, now black protect everything, and white has no reason to play anymore. So it's logical decision of Nakamura, but after knight d4, it's true. Knight a5 was serious mistake. Okay. But what was not mistake, according to engine? So bishop c3 or something like this. So bishop c3 was correct, probably. But okay, queen b6. Okay. Yes, knight a5 is more in spirit of Petrov. Also h6 is in spirit of Petrov after rook a2. Maybe h6 was normal move, but Okay, so bishop c3 instead of knight e5 is possible, but okay, queen b6, knight d4, bishop d7. Okay, if black will consolidate his pieces, pawn structure, pawn structure is good for black, but only problems that white has control on e lines. Because of this, perspectives of white is a little bit better. Mhm. Queen d6. Ah, queen d6. Why queen d? Maybe queen d6. To provoke, but now bishop b4 is possible. Ah, bishop b4 immediately, maybe. It's also possible, but if he wants to play queen d6, I would bishop b4 with stampi. Okay, of course, g3 is also possible, but pawn on a3 is hanging. So. Okay, bishop b4. Okay, maybe possible, but what is threat? Rook e8 is threat. What? For example, if b6, rook e8 is strong or not, I'm not sure if this is really strong, but who knows. For example, black can play rook d8 to prepare bishop d7 in next move. Yes, but rook d8, and I don't see what can white do against bishop d7. Bishop c3 not possible because rook takes e8 simply, and white lost a piece. Okay, also even this it's far from clear, so I don't know if white has serious advantage. Black has queen b2, also a5 is possible if takes this idea queen b2, so it's not so clear that white can utilize this appeal. Okay, so knight a5, it was mistake according to engine, but okay, I am not engine, so I thinking with help of my own head, so I see that it was logical decision to repeat moves and keep good tournament situation. Well, it's 11 o'clock p.m. and I have two games more for annotate, so I will stop this game, and I see that another Firouz Jadul, another Petrov, but with bishop f5 line. So bishop f5, it was me who played this first against Shirov. So after my game against Shirov, yes, Nepo escaped, yes. Line bishop e7, I played this bishop e7, bishop f5 line against Shirov. After this game, this line became popular, but now it's many games, so this is theory, nothing special. So b3. It looks like he's preparing for c4. It's position more or less similar to Alechin defense with, with this line. e4, knight f6, e5, knight d5, d4, d6, c4, knight b6, e takes this, knight c3, bishop e7, bishop d3, c6, and then knight a6. So you can see my game against Leko. I was slightly worse, but made draw. Shirov is great player, yes, agree. Okay, so let's come back to Firouz Jaduda. e4, e5. So nothing special. Rook e8, c4, bishop f6. Black doesn't afraid c5. So also, I had similar game, similar by structure against Bahadur Jabava recently. It was French defense. This line it was e4, e6, d4, d5. I was white against Jabava. Knight f3, bishop d6 he played. I played c4, he played c6, I played knight c3, he played knight e7, I played bishop d3, he played castle, h6, rook e1, bishop e6. So this was my game against Jabava, c5, bishop c7. In some moment I played c5, bishop c7, and later I had quite a bad position, almost even losing, but finally I won it. Okay, it was blitz. Okay, but anyway, let's continue. e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, this, knight d2. So nothing special. Firouzja doesn't want to play c5. With Adams, Polgar, Topalov. Okay, I agree to play with these guys and with this girl, Judith Polgar. Okay, engine. Stop to check with engine if you want to understand something in chess. It's my advice. So d takes c4, b5, very standard plan, also from game Kmoch Alyokhin. It's much better to see game Kmoch Alyokhin than to check Stockfish evaluation. Alyokhin played b5 against Kmoch, not in this position, but in similar, with idea to fight for d5 square. And Duda using same idea. Surely he is familiar with games of Alyokhin. Okay, black has squares only in dreams. Anti-engine politics. Okay, so... But I hope that Twitch will not ban me for anti-engine politics. I hope at least. So, it's not forbidden for anybody to use engine, but it's not my advice at least. But it's a personal choice of everybody. Knight e4, queen d8. Okay, so black has strong knight, but needs to have stable position. So black needs to open window for his king and probably defend b5 pawn accurately, and everything will be fine. So Firouzja wants to create something concrete. He play a4, a6, takes, knight c3, attacking b5 pawn, rook b1, knight d6, even taking this pawn, but just in time. So bishop takes d4. White cannot take with queen, obviously, because rook is hanging. Also, there is mate. Queen takes d4 and rook a1. At the moment, bishop takes f2 is threat as well, so white can not play for a win. If, for example, king f1, black has resource rook a1, maybe not only, but totally enough to not lost material. Yes, it's Duda Firuzja. Caruana report I already have analyzed. Probably you came later. Kobodo. Okay, please don't be crazy about chess program. You have a head, you have eyes. What else you need? I don't understand. So knight takes f6, queen takes f6, queen e4 instead of a4. Let's come back. This queen e4, yes, was possible, and so you want to play queen e8 mate. So black has choice between queen d8 or rook f8. Rook f8 looks more natural, and I think enough for hold this position. So even without engine, queen b7, after queen b7 I can play even a6. Even without engine I can not miss the mate in one, so I will play rook f8 in this position. Queen b7, a6, and with special advantage for white. Black is ready to play g6 or h6. Looks like drawish somehow. But okay, in the game, a4, rook takes b5, bishop takes d4, knight takes d4, rook a1, rook b1, queen d4. So rook is pinned, rook b8 is not possible because there is a pin. So he played queen f1. Of course, it was possible to take and queen f1. It's matter of taste. But he played queen f1 immediately, so there is no Sofia rule. It was possible to agree for draw even here, but they made it after several moves. Okay, it's not so important to repeat the move. So last game for today will be game Ding Rajabov. It's quite long game, okay, but I will try to comment it quite briefly because it's a little bit late in Ukraine and they are not leaders. So okay, anyway. Catalan, knight d2, and now castle, very solid. If black wants to play in creative style, it's good choice to play a5 now. If the idea to stop a3, because now after a3 black can take and play a4. So after bishop g2 d6 I want to play e5, and my bishop is defended against queen a4 check. So knight f3 and now knight c6. And after castle e5. This is really creative game. It's not novelty. Many games already was played in this position, but I don't remember example when this variation was played in highest level. So I don't remember any game in highest level in this position, but it's a quite interesting line for black. d5, knight e7. And black idea that they plan in bishop c5, bishop a7 in future. Okay, so castle, bishop g2, d5, knight f3, b6, castle, this is theory. Rook c8 is theory as well. Queen e7, everything is solid. e3, c5. This. Very solid play. And nothing. Okay, I don't know if this position already was played, but moves are quite standard. So there are no moves which are really surprised me. Knight takes d2, knight e5, another standard move. Black is preparing queen b7 check, e4, rook d8. Rook takes c8. Just to defend pawn e4. Start trying to play more aggressively. Knight d2 of Nakamura, okay. Knight d4 was more natural, I agree, but okay, choice of Nakamura, difficult to say. It's better to ask him what he was calculated. So after f4, knight g6 played Ding Liren, knight c4. This is Din Rajabov. Yes, that's true. So Timur is fighting for initiative. He has advantage in the center, but e4 pawn is hanging a little bit, and white king a little bit open. So certainly black has a good contraplay, and I have no feeling that white has advantage here. So queen b7 is very natural, a3, bishop c5. It's questioning. Bishop c5 or bishop f8 also possible. What is better? Difficult to say. Maybe bishop f8 not worse than bishop c5 to keep c line well opened for black rook. If rook e1, again black can play b5, knight a5, queen b6, because white cannot obviously take on b5. They losing the piece after rook c2. Well, it's quite primitive. Much more likely that Rajabov would play b4, but now a6, and I don't know, maybe white is slightly better here, maybe not. It's not obvious. Black has contraplay with e5 somewhere. Immediately e5 maybe was possible as well, but after immediately e5 I was not so sure about this. Maybe black has no enough compensation. So a6 and now e5, it's like positional threat. But white can defend after knight f3, and probably space advantage is comfortable for white. So Ding decide to play bishop c5. It's another logical decision, especially because now after b5, now white cannot play knight a5, because after queen b6, these two knights are hanging and white losing material. The best is knight takes b5, but okay, so now maybe white is not losing after knight takes e7, but it's not so pleasant to play this. After knight a7, rook c4, and it can be problem with white knight. Maybe you can make draw somehow, but anyway, no big reason to play this. Of course, on the knight is not so active as on a5. So I think I need to admit that choice of Ding bishop c5 was the plan a5. Very well, Rajabov chess. Okay, so it's big achievement. I want to understand Rajabov chess too. If you can explain me what is strong and weak parts of Rajabov, I would. Who among the chess players has the best sense of humor, in my opinion? You mean modern players, okay? Because first name which appear in my head is Mikhail Tal. Also, Rafael Vaganyan has nice humor. Boris Spassky, excellent in this. But if you're an active player, Kasimjanov, excellent sense of humor. Maybe somebody else, but okay. I will come back to our hero is. So knight d2 played Rajabov, sad necessity, a6, knight f3. Maybe it was possible to play on f3 with another knight, I don't know, but maybe so knight f3 played. So advantage, but it would be okay. Okay, knight f3, knight e7. Open the king and probably it's flexible. Knight on g6 somewhere can be useful to have e5 motif in some moments, but I don't know exactly in which moment it can work. So e7 probably. Okay. I don't want to tell that Magnus Carlsen has no sense of humor. If you give me choice, I prefer Kasimdzhanov. Baryaev has quite a good sense of humor, in my opinion. Especially if he has idea to publish book with his games and name this book Boring Chess, but as I know, he didn't realize such a great idea. Okay, so knight e7. Of course, it's not bad. Nakamura. Цей стрімер, це я, маєте на увазі? Я ще граю в шахи, так, як не дивно. Може це когось і дивує, але в шахи я ще граю. Якщо вас це цікавить. І надіюся, що не так вже й погано. I answered in Ukrainian. Queen d3. h6. Rook e2, bishop b6. Not so comfortable for white because e4 pawn is always hanging. There is no possibility of e5 or f5. If b4 in some moments c4 square will be weak. So practically it's more pleasant to play even with black, in my opinion, in this position. Rook d8. And now Dinh Liren could repeat moves and make draw, but he's in fighting spirit. He's played h5 and suddenly Rajabov played h4. Strange positionally, but probably he afraid that in some moment h4 black can play h4 if g4 knight g6. For example, if some move, okay, it's totally stupid move, but I just want to illustrate black ideas. Now white has serious problem with f4 pawn, which is not possible to defend, because if queen c1, knight takes e4. So this was threat, so Rajabov played h4, it's concession, because he is giving a g4 pawn, so knight g4. Queen c3 also, and Rajabov is very tricky, because if rook c8 he has knight c6, and suddenly he is winning here. But okay, Dinh Liren is not sleeping. He came back, queen c2, but now played rook c8. Yes, queen d3, knight g4, b4. So he played b4, because black knights are very far from c4 square, and at the moment he wants to play knight b3 and probably bishop d4 to exchange the bishop. Everyone likes more space, maybe everyone, but it also depends of position. A tough tournament for Alireza, okay, but he can try just enjoy with this tournament. It can be tough if if he will be too ambitious, but well, he will try to enjoy. It will be not so tough for him, in my modest opinion. So queen d7. Okay, rook d8 is logical, but after rook d8, queen c3 is possible with same idea if rook c8, knight c6. So queen d7. Now white knight is under pin, so rook d2. Radjabov protected, rook c4. Okay, logical move. Not only move, of course. Knight c6 was a reasonable alternative, in my opinion. Idea somehow to exchange minor pieces and probably fight for e3 square for bishop or for knight. So knight c6 looks like logical alternative. Julio Granda, okay, he is good player, but I played against him probably 4 games and my score is 3.5. So he just made one draw against me. Against me, he is not so successful, Julio Granda. How losing rating and not winning the candidates can be enjoyable? Can be enjoyable. Да ничего бы я не менял, в принципе. Все хорошо, Александр. В целом. I answered in Russian to question of Alexander Rustemov. В принципе, я всем доволен в жизни. I explained that in general, I am happy with my life, and if there is proposition to change something from age 16, I hardly would agree to change something, especially what is connected with chess. In my private life, it's different story, but it's I don't want to speak about private life in chess channel. So about Alireza, what is the reason to be happy? He is healthy. He is young. He is playing chess. He is doing his favorite job, and he can find a nice girlfriend. So he has everything. He has money. So he is living in excellent country. So what is the problem? He's top player. Okay, so just enjoy his life. No reason to be stressed. Okay, and just enjoy his play. Okay, joke of Magnus. He will play against everybody who will win, but he wants to have more money from this match. It's totally understandable and respectful. I respect position of Magnus because if he will have more money, other chess players will have more money too from different matches and tournaments. So he is doing a good job, same like Fischer in his time. Giri Granda. Giri Granda, okay, Giri Granda. I have seen this game, but probably I will prepare this. Giri Granda. Giri Granda. Okay, Giri Granda. Okay, so knight c6 was quite reasonable alternative. Okay, I am not organizer at all, so it's I cannot imagine myself like FIDE president, for example. If I will organize, I will discuss with somebody. It's seems me like nightmare. I prefer to play chess. I prefer to annotate games. I prefer to find good moves. I prefer to have exciting dreams, not only about chess, about another topics as well. But I am not organizer at all. So knight c6 was interest, maybe even stronger than knight c4, because knight c knight c6. I want to put another sign, because rook on c4 is beautiful, but a little bit useful. But okay, just waited. Oh, sorry, Timur. Maybe it's more respectful to call him Timur. Raja. Okay. So Nepo is the favorite. Okay, at the moment, Nepo is okay because he is leader, but okay, he is leader. It's serious, but only half of point difference. What we have now, so Nepo has +2, Caruana has +1, and nobody else has +1, or somebody has +1. So only two players. For me, Vasily and Chuky both is acceptable. So we have only two players with plus at the moment, or somebody else. Okay, so Rapport all draws, Duda all draws, so Nepo and Caruana in plus, Rajabov and Ding in minus, Nakamura 50%, and who else? Yes, so only two players has plus. Okay, so at the moment, Firouzja minus, yes. Okay, so queen d3. Rajabov is fighting, but keeping position. Again, knight c6 was a logical alternative, in my opinion. Why not? I don't know. It's very logical. Try to exchange knight and then try to penetrate into e3 square. And white cannot utilize d8 square because for example, this d8 square is protected by bishop and queen d8 is not made. Knight g5 is possible to consider with threat of queen d8. Maybe it's dangerous somehow. Because of this, I wanted to play knight c6 without rook c4. But maybe black can defend successfully. Maybe queen c8 is possible also. Still, black has active position. Bishop e3. Oh no, bishop e3 is not threat, but at the moment maybe f6 is threat somehow. So knight c6, I have feeling it was as well. Minus is king +2. Looking down, he's he's the guy. Sorry. Looking down to Firouzja, wants to play. I don't understand this question about Nepo and Firouzja, probably because English is not my native language. Sorry, I don't understand point of this question. So, 6 is in. interesting, but he played f6. It's f6 interesting. He is preparing. Yes, I analyzed it already. Nakamura game. Shaky starts and Nepo has shaky finish. Okay, we'll see. I cannot tell nothing about finish of this tournament. Would be shocked that Magnus said. No. First of all, if Nepo will qualify, Magnus will play it against him. I'm 100% sure about this. So not consider this declaration of Magnus too seriously. Okay, he also has quite good sense of humor, and their manager understand very well what are correct declaration to have more money from World Championship match. So f6 he played. He is preparing e5, but king h3. Queen c8 he played. So e5 was principal, but e5. Yes, I agree that now Nepomniachtchi is thinking only about play in this tournament, and he is totally right with this attitude, with this. So what is this? Knight e6 probably. Suddenly position is quite sharp. If queen takes e4, white can, for example, take and play rook d7 with serious contraplay. Or not serious, because knight f5 is just possible. But knight f5, rook b7, and now rook b8 check, and knight g5 is threat. Okay, maybe black has also his threats after rook e2, and then take. So e5 is very interesting. Queen d8, it works. Okay, maybe it works, but I have seen this idea, but I don't know if it's strong or not. So, for example, king f7, knight, which knight? For example, if this knight, king g6, this. So I stop at my calculation somewhere around here, and I had feeling that black is better here. Strange idea. 0.6 point for black and 0.4 for white. Okay, but what is the reason? What is problem with normal calculation? So if I was interesting move, by the way, and very logical move, because he played f6 to prepare e5. So and then he changed his plan. But so what was problem? This is okay. Knight f5 is also possible, but knight f5 is hardly good because black can just take and e4. And they are winning piece. I don't see. But maybe queen d6 also. Okay, it takes f3, queen e6 check, queen f7 is possible. This is just bad for white. So knight e6 is only move, queen takes e4, and it looks like situations. Maybe white can take immediately and now play knight g5. Knight g5 may be strong, attack the rook, and only after to play something active. For example, if rook c4, rook d7 now. But sorry, rook c2 is coming. Rook c2 and rook h2. Yes, 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 yes. So not so easy. Maybe another knight. Maybe something with rook d6. For example, this may be possible. And if rook c4, I can take on e5. If rook e3, I can play rook d6, attack the bishop. And if bishop c7, rook a6 with idea rook a8, maybe this is problem. So knight eg5 is probably correct idea, and then rook d6. Or if rook c4, knight takes e5. So it's not so simple. White has serious contraplay. Sorry? e4, where e4? So after rook takes e4, my proposition is knight eg5. Let's check if this is forced. e5, this, knight e6. No, knight e5, knight f5 was bad because knight takes and e4, I already explained this. So knight e6, this, and knight g5, in my opinion, is the strongest move. And black has pawn up, but white has enough contraplay because rook d6 is coming. So e5 doesn't work so easily. Maybe also black can take with rook, I don't know. No, it's not true because knight g5 and queen h7 mate, so rook takes e4 is clear blood. Okay, so he played queen c8, defended this pawn, and e5 played Rajab. Now he has e5 probably was only move because e5 was threat from black and then knight f2 check. So this. No. Knight g5 probably simply no threats. Black can just take and white has no serious attack, only several checks. So not serious. F takes e5. But now knight g5 is like threat in some moment. So g6, knight g5. Now both has their trumps. Bishop takes d4 played didn't Liren. Maybe also possible was queen a8 immediately or queen b7 to attack h1 square. f5 instead of f takes e5. f5 here. Yes. We can discuss about, but what is the idea if knight g5? Sorry, after f5 also knight takes e6 and queen d8 is idea, but probably it doesn't work. I see this line. This, queen d8, bishop, this, but after rook c2, black is just winning. So this idea doesn't work. So after f5, white should play knight g5. Yes, but maybe you are right. Black can just take and play knight d5. Black knights are very strong here. Yes. For example, if bishop b2, even rook takes f4 is possible. So maybe f5 was really strong. So because now black has safe king and white has no. After f takes, black has a problem with king as well. But after f5, yes, I totally agree. f5 was much stronger. takes e5, f takes e5, g6, knight g5. So this, yes, f5, really interesting. Sandro Marecco, bring it my house. Greeting from Argentina. Okay. Best regards to. Yes, f5 was really good. I totally agree. Best regards to Sandro. So queen f3, this knight c6. Already no queens in the board, so no mating attack. They simplified the game. Knight e5, rook c3 maybe was possible as well, but white has contraplay with knight g5. Yeah, yeah. So Dean was very close to victory, or at least to have a serious advantage in this game. So he outplayed his opponent. Instead of g6, Dean could play bishop g4. Bishop takes d4. Yes, he could play. Yes, why not? But what is idea? If knight takes d4, what is your idea? Knight takes e5, but knight takes e5, I'm not so sure. Queen e2 and e6 pawn is hanging somehow. And the bishop will be active. So after knight takes d4, probably something else. Normal positional move. But what is normal in this position? Queen b7 maybe. Yes. Okay, queen b7, queen f3. And what is this? Sorry, queen f3, rook takes d4 is possible. Queen b7 is better because after queen a8, queen f3 white can play, but after queen b7 white cannot play queen f3 because rook takes d4 is coming. Yes, and black is just winning. So bishop takes d4. If knight takes d4, queen b7, so white needs to play something else, and the situation is difficult. Queen f1 probably is correct. But after queen f1, black, queen d5, queen d5 is not so good because knight f3, and white has idea rook d8, knight g5. So queen d5 is not good, but so queen f1, how black can improve his position? Knight e3 probably. Okay, knight e3, queen f3 already is possible in endgame. White is close to draw. So, okay, probably after queen f1, white has enough resources to defend position. Also, looks like black is better, but pawn e6 is hanging, and I don't see immediately a comfortable way to defend this pawn. Queen c8. So, maybe queen c8 is the best. But after queen c8, queen f3, it's possible. So situation is not so clear, but looks like more pleasant. If knight d5, knight d5. If knight f5, queen f8 is coming. Yes. Knight e6 doesn't work because queen takes e6, and white can not take with queen because after take rook c2 is coming, and if rook takes but takes d2, simply knight f6, black is win. So queen c8, yes, queen c8, yes, maybe still unpleasant for white somehow. Yeah, so bishop takes d4 probably was better. That's true. But didn't move 40. Okay, no, probably he was in time trouble. I don't know. knight g5. Now he took, but now queen f3. So white managed to exchange queens, and without queens, hard to believe that black can do something. Okay, so they agreed for draw, and for me it's time to sleep. Thanks a lot for your attention. In time trouble. Okay, so it's understandable. Okay, good night and good day. If somebody has day, if somebody has morning, good morning. All the best. Добраніч.